If you haven't seen it by now, watch at your own risk. Welcome to the Screen Squad. Welcome back, everybody. It's Kev with the Screen Squad. Today, as promised, I'm doing my review for Deadpool and Wolverine. There will be spoilers scattered throughout this, so if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want things spoiled for you, then I'd suggest you stop watching. But it's been a few weeks now. I waited. I gave people a chance to see this movie. I gotta talk about it. It was that good for me. Like, I have to talk about it. What other way to do that than to you guys, the faithful? Now, to all the MCU fans, this movie, I think we can all agree, rejuvenated a much-needed sense of life into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Merc with the Mouth is officially in the MCU. Like, there wasn't... I know what the critics will say, but critics never give superhero movies good reviews. You gotta trust the opinion of the fans as far as truthfully being honest about these movies. And if I'm being honest, Deadpool and Wolverine is a hilarious superhero buddy comedy full of surprising, self-referential MCU humor and unsurprising plot and pacing problems. There was some pacing problems, if I'm being honest. But, like, overall, this movie was, I don't know what else to say other than nothing short of spectacular. And to start it off, we get this really amazing intro scene, dance number with Deadpool. I'm sure you guys have seen the memes by now, but Deadpool doing the dance to Saints, Bye Bye Bye. I will never hear that song in the same way ever again. Like, it starts with him digging up the corpse of Logan, right? And he's doing this voiceover saying how Logan's not dead, Wolverine can't be dead. And then he finds the body, gets really pissed off. And there's this really just funny moment of him sitting there with the corpse of Logan, adamantium corpse, I should add. And he's just talking to the corpse. And he does this really funny thing with Logan's corpse's mouth. He says, "Nothing will bring me back faster than a large bag of Marvel cash," hinting at, what it took to make this movie. And then the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, shows up from Loki. They want Wade to go with them, to which he breaks out in a dance number, killing them with the bones of Wolverine, the metal bones of Wolverine, while Bye 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 is playing, and he does this fantastic dance number. I've watched the opening of that movie at least 5 times already. It's one of the best parts. Like, I know the beginning of each Deadpool movie is kind of spectacular in its own way, but this one just absolutely crushed it and knocked it out of the park, what it meant to see this. And as the movie progresses, we get into Wade Wilson's life now that he's given up being Deadpool. Him and his girlie have broken things up. Him and Vanessa have, gone their separate ways because she wants him to do more with his life and he just doesn't. And now he's selling cars with Peter Pool, which I'll get into that later. But he's selling cars with Peter. Peter also has a Deadpool costume in his closet in case things ever hit the fan again and he needs to suit up, which I thought was hilarious. To which Deadpool has also tried interviewing to be part of the Avengers. Like, he has a sit-down person interview with Happy Hogan. It was cool seeing Happy Hogan back again, but that was a cool little scene. On the table of Happy's office, you have that picture of Tony with Peter Parker and the kid Iron Man mask, that the kid that was rumored to be Peter Parker from Iron Man 2 or 3, that was wearing the mask during I think it was 3. No, it was 2. And it was the mask that this child was wearing when everything was happening at the Stark Expo. But the way it was sitting was like directly in front of the picture of Peter and Tony, but it was blocking Peter. And I believe that was a money issue that they did that so they wouldn't have to pay Sony for using Peter Parker's face. But regardless, that whole sequence of him trying to get a job with the Avengers was nothing short of hilarious and just funny. He pokes fun at the fact that Happy was Iron Man's driver, to which he aptly rebuttals, "I was his driver, and then I got appointed head of security." And then we skip to Wade celebrating his birthday. with his family, the knockoff X-Men that no one really wants, even though I love Negasonic, Teenage Warhead, and Colossus. Shatterstar's back in a little scene. Doesn't have anything else to do in this movie besides this one scene. You have the nice little birthday scene. There's a knock at the door. The TVA shows up, and they pull Wade Wilson into the TVA, which exists outside of time, as everybody knows. I'm assuming you all watched Loki. And they basically tell him that his universe's anchor being, like a singular person that holds the fabric of time together in that universe, has died. To which he says, "No, I haven't. I'm right here." And they're like, "No one ever said it was you." Turns out the anchor being of his universe was Logan. And now, in order to save his universe, he's got to go throughout the multiverse and find a Wolverine to help save his world. At least that's what, according to him, that's what has to be done. And he finds a Wolverine that is, just a drunk. He lost everything. All the X-Men on his world died because of him not being there, and which I thought was a little weird that instead of giving us the Wolverine that we all grew up knowing and loving, you give us kind of like a bitch version of him. Full redemption by the end of this movie, by the way. It was perfect. Then they get eradicated, sent to the void, to which they meet Captain America. But before that, they have a really cool fight scene to Hell's Bells. And Wolverine, I love that costume. Let me just say, like, the yellow and blue, I think we've all waited a very long time for that outfit. I have. I loved every second of him in that costume. But then they start fighting, and Deadpool straight up says it, "Let's give the people what they paid for." And he tells all the nerds to get their special sock out. This is going to get good. They start fighting. Deadpool, I should add, has new swords that are made out of adamantium. So he can actually fight Wolverine and not have everything just get diced up. It was a fantastic fight sequence. I loved every minute of it. And I just want to say it's clear HughJackman and RyanReynolds have been road testing their chemistry on social media for years now. And Deadpool and Wolverine proves their catty one-upmanship can sustain a feature-length film. There's a trust and ease between the two stars that puts their banter head and shoulders above most of their other MCU counterparts. Again, years and years of de facto rehearsal and an R rating give them a lot of leeway to progress where they want to progress. And as a buddy comedy, Deadpool and Wolverine is rock solid. It grinds to a halt anytime there's any exposition to attend to. While Deadpool sure does like to joke about the fact in real time, clunky plot junk still hits the ear like clunky plot junk. Much of that exposition gets dumped in the lap of the TVA's Mr. Paradox. Matthew McFadden killed it as Mr. Paradox, but his influence on events after his initial encounter with Deadpool is limited, and the movie largely moves past him after the first act. It really focuses a lot on Cassandra Nova after that, she's hilarious. She's got this moment where she shoves her hands in Deadpool's face and he says, "Your fingers are inside me," and not in a good way. I laughed my ass off, but we're going to get back to Captain America. So after Deadpool and Wolverine have their little fight, you hear a voice and Deadpool goes, "Oh my God, it's him." And then he turns around once Nova's henchmen show up, led by Pyro from the X-Men universe. And as he's getting ready to, fight them, Deadpool makes the joke that he's going to say the thing, and he starts to yell, "Avengers Assemble." But then Chris Evans says two words we haven't heard since '06. Flame on. And yeah, that means exactly what you think it means. The Human Torch returns. Lost it when the Human Torch showed up. I grew up with that. I grew up watching both of the Fantastic Four movies. We're not talking about Fantastic. That movie sucked. I mean, Rise of the Silver Surfer wasn't great either. You just made Galactus a giant smoky cloud. But without all that, seeing Human Torch or Chris Evans, Johnny Storm back in it made for a moment. I was in a packed theater. And when I tell you, the collective people watching lost their shit when he said "flame on," I lost it. And going back to Nova's group of people, a marauding group of veteran Fox mutants like Pyro, Sabretooth, played perfectly by Tyler Mane again, opened the door to even more surprising appearances, which range in significance and utility from "my brain recognizes that character and that makes my brain happy" to "we've closed the loop on one of the subgenre's greatest missed opportunities." And there was two other cameos in this that really just hit you. The first one being the return of everybody's favorite half vampire daywalker, Blade. Wesley Snipes came back as Blade. I almost threw my popcorn when he showed up. And then Deadpool makes a joke and goes, I thought you were retired. Oh my God. Guys, if you haven't seen this movie and you're still watching this, I hope you don't care about spoilers because it is what it is. I gotta talk about this. This whole just idea that you could do all these different cameos without any kind of continuity issues or anything like that just make you very happy as far as like getting what you came for. Like you knew once HughJackman was signed on, all the people that were confirmed to be in this movie, like Jennifer Garner's Elektra, perfect by the way, she was awesome. But there was one cameo, well besides Blade, there was one other cameo I did not see coming, and that was Channing Tatum as Gambit. Like we finally got Channing Tatum as Gambit, and he knocked it out of the freaking park. I have no issues with him being in this movie, especially the way he was portrayed. And there's rumors that they want him for the X-Men MCU movie when it comes time. But at this point, so Channing Tatum has waited 10, 12 years trying to get Gambit off the ground running. And it hasn't gotten anywhere. And it makes you worry that maybe it's not worth it at this point. Like, is he too old to be Gambit? I think he looks spectacular. The costume, the accent, very Cajun, by the way. Very, very Cajun. And I just want a little side note. There has been the use of the F word 107 times in the MCU. 106 of them came in this movie. The only other one was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Yeah. That was it. And anyway, HughJackman, I mean, that was a cameo in and of itself. We didn't even talk about all the Wolverine cameos. Cavalrine, that's right. Henry Cavill showed up as a variant of Wolverine, which was perfect. He had this moment with these claws coming out, which was very, like, it was like a nod to his role in Mission Impossible, which is fine. I loved it. It was like the second he did it, I knew what it was. But there's also a scene between Hugh and Ryan where they're in the minivan and HughJackman just goes off on Deadpool. Wolverine just tears him a new asshole. Basically tells him, like, you'll never be able to save your world. You couldn't even save a relationship with a goddamn stripper. And he just rips him a new one, saying that he goes, I wish I could tell you you'd die alone, but it's God's greatest joke that you can't die except it's on all of us. And then he calls him Mouth. I loved every minute of this movie. And then the final act, guys. This movie just tore the final act of this movie tore the roof off of that theater. The moment you hear Madonna's Like a Prayer start playing and the two of them walk around the corner and HughJackman pulls up the cowl and slips it over. Even Deadpool says, like, you saved all the best stuff for the third act. And he really did. As someone who has waited over 20 years to see that costume in a movie, it was so worth it. I will say there was a couple moments that looked like a little spotty CGI, but I'm willing to let that slide for the fight sequence we got. Because we got Wolverine in full costume alongside Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool facing off against the Pool universe, if you will. Every variant of Deadpool you can imagine. Lady Pool, voiced by Blake Lively. She doesn't take the mask off, which was kind of a bummer, so you don't really know it's Blake unless you read the credits. But a little fun note, you had Kid Pool, Baby Pool, and Lady Pool. All three were played by members of Ryan Reynolds' family. Like, Lady Pool was his wife, Baby Pool was his baby, and Kid Pool was his son. You also had Tom Holland's brother make an appearance as another variant. There's famous soccer players, like, there was just cameos up the ass in this. But overall, that whole last fight sequence going up against all these variants of Deadpool, oh my God. And then they stop fighting because of Dogpool. Like, Wolverine runs over to the side with Dogpool and no one will shoot Dogpool. I loved it. And then they really stopped fighting when Peter Pool showed up. Like, Peter from X-Force shows up in a Deadpool costume, and they all make a joke like, oh my God, it's Peter. And Deadpool goes, wait, you have a Peter? They go, every Deadpool has a Peter Pool. And they stop fighting because of him. to which that allows Deadpool and Wolverine to go back into the TVA and stop Cassandra Nova from destroying this device or from using this, to which we see Hunter B-15 back, or B-13, whatever her name is. It was cool seeing her again, and she makes it known that there's no reason to send Wolverine back to his world or fix anything from his world, because all those actions made him who he was. Does this movie really set up anything else in the MCU other than the potential of more mutants? Not really. Do I think we're going to get more Hugh Jackman as Wolverine? I sure freaking hope so. But if this was a one and done, so be it. It was a great, awesome final ride if it was that for him. This is the movie I think the universe needed for years. Years. I've never been so happy with a movie. Not since Spider-Man No Way Home, and previously before that, not since Avengers Endgame. Endgame summed up all the MCU's projects up to that point. No Way Home paid homage to the 3 different Spider-Mans we've had. Deadpool and Wolverine was a love letter to the Fox universe. It 100% was. It just, and even during the credits, there's a little video package of behind the scenes and, deleted scenes from all the X-Men movies, Fantastic Fours, all these previous Marvel movies that Fox made, but all while playing to Green Day's Good Riddance, which I thought was fucking phenomenal. I went to see it with my best friend, and me and him were just looking at each other like, this is great, over and over and over again, while being covered in buttery popcorn. I didn't, however, get any of the special merch besides the Wolverine cup, but besides that, I wanted the popcorn bucket, guys. They didn't have any. And I went the day the movie came out. Unless you went to that first showing, I don't think you got any of the stuff, which is very sad. I feel like this movie theater should produce a little bit more of these collectibles just to give everybody a shot. Not everybody can go opening night. But regardless, it didn't take away from the movie. The movie itself, 10 out of 10 in my book. I can't wait to see what's next in the MCU. I'm hoping the Disney Expo is this Friday. I'm hoping we get some inside looks at Daredevil Born Again, maybe some Daredevil Punisher clips, maybe a teaser or something. We know Bernthal's back. Charlie Cox has been adamant that this is probably one of his favorite projects he's done. Vincent D'Onofrio is ready to come back as Kingpin again. Let's just hope that this project is going to be better than what Echo was, what She-Hulk was. I think it will be, because I think a lot of people are starting to really like more of the street-level heroes like Deadpool, Spider-Man, Daredevil, Punisher. I love the Punisher series. That was one of my favorite Marvel products that they've done in years. And here's hoping there's some big news coming this week. We also got the most recent news that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be playing Doctor Doom. At first, when I first heard this, I had mixed emotions. But at the same time, could it have really been anybody else? I know I wanted Cillian Murphy to play that role. But at the same time, and as much as it doesn't make sense that it's Robert Downey Jr., it does. It 100% does. I feel like this guy just was sitting back watching the current state of the MCU go downhill. It was like, yeah, you need to tag me back in so I could revive the shit out of this company. And I feel like that, I don't know. I know that's probably not why they did it, but I'm cool with it. He's going to be a multiversal threat showing up in Avengers Doomsday. Or, I think he's going to, personally, I feel like he's going to show up at the end of the Fantastic Four First Steps. Because it's already been confirmed the villain for that is Galactus. In Galactus, it's already been known that this movie takes place in not the MCU timeline, but a different part of the multiverse. Galactus eats planets. Galactus eats their planet. They flee to a different universe, to which they find Doom. Or they flee to the MCU timeline, and who piggybacks off of that is Doctor Doom. I don't know. I've also heard reports that Doctor Doom is going through the multiverse killing King variants, and that it was supposed to be in Agatha all along that Rama Tut was the one who wrote, not Rama Tut, one of the Kang variants was the one who wrote the Darkhold. That gave that messed with Wanda's mind. So I'm hoping we start seeing more interconnectivity about these projects. Agatha All Along comes out soon, so I will be watching that and reviewing it. But yeah, going back to Deadpool and Wolverine the last couple minutes, minutes, you had Deadpool and Wolverine fighting to sacrifice one another. Like Wolverine wanted himself to sacrifice for the greater good. Deadpool's like, no, it's gonna be me. They went back and forth a lot, and in a great last 2 minutes of that fight or that movie with Madonna's "Like a Prayer" playing again, that movie ended so beautifully, and it was just so great. So that's my spoiler review of Deadpool and Wolverine. We got into some other Marvel news. If you guys got anything you want to talk about or want me to mention, review, watch, anything, drop a comment down below. Please don't forget to hit that like button. It lets me know that there's somebody that appreciates what I'm doing. But until next time, I'm Kev with the Screen Squad saying peace.
Damn. Yeah.